In years where there's a ton of big games that do very well,
Guess I pack a pretty good punch, huh?
there are gonna be games that maybe would have done better in another year when it was a little less packed with stuff, or maybe just didn't get marketed well, or didn't get the chance that they needed to. Maybe they were just released at a bad time. There's a lot of factors. But there are definitely some games that this year have ended up being hidden gems that maybe would have been a big game in another year, or maybe wouldn't have, I don't know. That's what we're talking about today, though. Hi, folks, it's Falcon. Let's talk about 10 of the most underrated games of 2025. Starting off with number 10, it's Hell Is Us. This had no chance releasing the same day as Silksong. Its fate was sealed the very moment that release date trailer was dropped. And while it's not a perfect game still, it's kind of flawed. It's one of the most unique and twistedly beautiful games to launch in 2025. As a Souls-like, it's not great, but as an exploration-based puzzle game, it is fantastic. The design of the world is incredible, and the lore that they've built for this place is fascinating. There's an entire alternative history to this place going all the way up to the early 90s. Just the fact that this game is set in the modern era makes a really unusual setting for a Souls-like. You spend a huge chunk of the game exploring ancient ruins that wouldn't look out of place in a From game, but a lot of the stuff here feels very fresh. There's occupied villages where soldiers commit fresh atrocities to the civilian population. There's burning government buildings and abandoned war zones. There's depth and variety to each location. They're all big and they're all full of secrets to uncover. I do appreciate that there is combat, but it's not really the focus here. The mystery hunting and the puzzle solving is, and that's great because a lot of the fighting, boss fights in particular, it's kind of bad sometimes, and the game ends without resolving a lot, but this game deserves a lot more attention than it got, because it did great with atmosphere, it did fantastic with puzzle solving, and it's just an interesting exploration game that also happens to be a competent Souls-like. I do have to take a quick second to ask you to click subscribe. Most of you are not subscribed, and it's a really big thing for us. It helps us a whole lot. We hope it helps you find stuff that you want to see. So just asking to click subscribe, thanking you for clicking subscribe, and let's just get back to things. And number 9 is The Altars. Not exactly an overlooked game, especially at launch. Got a decent amount of buzz, but after that, it just kind of fell off a cliff. Everybody stopped talking about it, and, the new hotness popped up, whatever it was, and nobody ever brought this one up again. Which is a shame, because this game deserves a little more than it got, I think. It's weird, it's ambitious, and it actually pulled it off at a pretty high level of fidelity, which is a rare thing to see these days. Usually, when something really daring and genre-defying comes around, it's made by a really small team with pixel art, but this one got the full, lavish production. It looks fantastic for something so inexplicable. The actual gameplay for managing your altars is more like a visual novel than a real colony management sim, but they managed to make things feel tense and dangerous, like you're always being pressured about something without going full Frostpunk. It's accessible and it's fun in a way that you might not assume. And while it did get its flowers, at least some of its flowers back when it first came out, it's been overlooked and definitely underrated since. And number 8 is Abiotic Factor. I would say it's a bit of a stretch to call this underrated with an overwhelmingly positive Steam rating with 23,000 reviews, at least in terms of the gaming community. With critics, on the other hand, it's basically been overlooked. Most gaming publications and award shows just forgot about it. It's probably because it technically launched back in 2024 in early access and only hit 1.0 this year. For us, though, Baldur's Gate 3 came out as a 2023 game, and by that logic, Abiotic Factor is a 2025 game. Easily one of the best games of the year, too, whether you like survival crafting games or not. So there. The game is a brilliant twist on the usual formula. Instead of dropping into some boring woods to survive, you're trapped in a place that is heavily inspired by the Black Mesa Research Facility, and it's Minecraft meets Half-Life, and it's perfect.
Welcome to the Gate Cascade Research Facility. You are in the induction wing.
The underground science facility is sprawling, but it is carefully designed and full of surprises, as you can imagine it possibly could be. Always new secrets to uncover in this game. And I mean, it does have co-op like a lot of survival games, but it's just as much fun to play alone. It is an excellently designed game from top to bottom. It deserves a lot more recognition than it got, at least from people not already in the know. And number 7 is The Drifter. The adventure game was kind of considered a dead genre, but they're pretty back now. There have been some incredible hits with the genre, some of them even breaking through into the mainstream like Dispatch, but The Drifter is a game that was highly regarded by adventure fans this year and otherwise ignored, which is a shame because it has a lot of crossover appeal. While from appearances it looks like any old point-and-clicker, what makes The Drifter stand out is how exciting it actually is. It's got a pulse-pounding story of a man relentlessly hunted that always keeps you moving forward at a pace you rarely see in this genre, which is usually considered pretty passive and slow, honestly.
Shadowy figures with burning eyes. The Malinji? Shove from behind. Wait!
There are quite a few moments of reflection, but just as many moments of peril where the wrong move leads to an immediate game over. It's an adventure game with deaths, and a lot of them. Usually that would be a big no-no, but this game smartly wastes no time bringing you right back before any choices are made that let you try again. It makes some parts feel like trial and error, but the ever-looming presence of death keeps you on your toes even when the consequences aren't really all that punishing. For a pixel art game, the presentation is very moody and detailed. The storytelling is surprisingly serious and engaging. It's just a good adventure game, up there with some of the all-time classics of the genre.
I hold the flame under the rag until it lights.
And number 6 is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. There are overlooked games, and then there are games like Pipistrello, which managed to get overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, but barely hitting the minimum requirement of 500 positive reviews to qualify. It's a huge shame, because this is a Game Boy Advance style throwback, and it is absolutely excellent. It is super well designed, and it is fun from minute one. It is basically Link's Awakening on crack. Everything is supercharged. There's very little time wasted. There's a story that's amusingly strange, but it doesn't really matter. It's all about the top-down Zelda-style action set in the modern day. So you're collecting money to get upgrades, and that involves taking out a loan to unlock or going to the big dungeon, which is a mall, mostly riffing on classic video game formats, but they put a unique spin on them that makes it feel very itself, like Pipistrello is a thing, its own thing. The level design is absolutely excellent, and they're always introducing new little tricks and concepts that keep things very interesting, and the game remains a fair challenge the whole way through. It's not a cakewalk at all. But it never gets too frustrating, and it's a sort of breezy entertainment that just, it works out really well. All around great game, great sense of humor, just really good sprite work too. Moving on to number 5, it's Promise Mascot Agency. Speaking of weird, the guys that made Paradise Killer really topped themselves with Promise Mascot Agency. It's probably one of the most difficult to describe games of the year. It's a business management game crossed with an open-world driving game about sentient mascots where you play as Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza. Like, literally, they got the same voice actor and everything. Somehow, that only scratches the surface of how weird this game is, too. The developers stated that janky, oddball PS2 games are a big inspiration for them, and that's very apparent. Like, it is not a lie. It is a strange oddity that feels intentionally designed to be alienating to an audience that isn't immediately receptive to its charms. It's a long-winded way of saying Promise Mascot Agency is one of those games you really either like or you don't. But for people who like weirdo stuff like this, it's fun. Way more fun than you might think. It's a constant balancing act between exploring the open world, collecting cash and unlockable stuff, while at the same time managing your growing business. It's, on their own, the open world stuff is pretty slight. Business management, it's pretty simplistic. You have to juggle all this stuff, though, and that's kind of what keeps it engaging. You're on the clock, but it's never overly taxing. story's bizarre, but very charming, and Not Kiryu is dedicated to helping everyone he meets fulfill their dreams, which is very Yakuza-like. It's basically like if you took a bunch of side stories from Yakuza and made a whole game. That's basically how we're operating here. If that sounds good, you're probably going to like Promise Mascot Agency, though. At number 4 is Eric's Home, the Stolen Dream, top-down stealth game. It's sort of like if you crossed a Plague Tale with, like, Shadow Tactics. It's maybe overselling a bit, because the real draw is the fidelity. Like, this is an indie game that has no business looking this good. Interesting world, both in terms of what it looks like as well as the world building. It's not the complexity and depth of the stealth mechanics that make this thing work. I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're bad. It's not an innovator, let's say. This game actually probably has more in common with your average cinematic platformer. Just a different viewing angle. It's like a puzzle game with stealth elements rather than a straight-up stealth game.
Okay, that's definitely something. I wonder. Look, just come out. I won't hurt you.
The mechanics get a little more complex as it goes along, but the main reason you're playing it is for the presentation and story, rather than for a new gameplay experience. And those elements are also surprisingly good. It's a really beautiful game, even if the Unreal Engine metahumans are a little obvious. They're well done with some quality motion and performance capture done here, though. Environmental design, it's absolutely top-notch, as is the pacing, which keeps things moving along briskly. It's a game without a lot going on besides that, but people have recognized it for the high-quality product that it is, surprisingly high quality. It's got a very high score on Steam, overwhelmingly positive, and I do think it's a game that deserves more of a spotlight. At number 3 is Strange Antiquities. Well, Blueprints got all the attention. There were still a lot of good puzzle games that weren't Blueprints. We've talked about The Root Trees Are Dead before. It could easily earn a spot on this list, but Strange Antiquities is another one of the very best this year that should have earned more attention and accolades than it got. It's actually a follow-up to Strange Horticulture you could say it's more of the same, but they really did expand things, though, in some pretty creative and fun ways. The game is primarily an investigation and deduction game about identifying strange objects and ascertaining their purpose and power by reading books and using context clues to figure things out. What's interesting here is that outside of the standard client stuff where someone comes in and asks you to do something, there's deeper mysteries to uncover on your own. It's an extremely well-designed and intuitive puzzle game that maybe doesn't bring you the flashiest of presentations of all time, but as far as puzzles go, they're logical and they're satisfying in their conclusions, and it's easily one of the best puzzle games of the year. And it's not a roguelike. If you don't like that, there's one more positive for you. And number 2 is Angeline Era. Huge recommendation to this game. It was just released last week. It's weird, it's esoteric, it's very exploration focused, but it also has a very satisfying and easy to learn, but hard to master combat thing going. The developer behind this one is probably best known for the Weird as Hell Anodyne games, but they've been pumping out follow-ups pretty consistently for years now. And while they have their following, these games have never quite managed to catch on. While Angeline Era might sound like a bizarre game to add to the growing pile from these guys, I think this one's special. It's beyond the usual. Instead of being a strange visual journey only, it's about exploration. It's kind of their answer to Legend of Zelda, with a massive interconnected world to explore and aesthetics that feel right out of the PS1. It reminds me most of Legend of Zelda 2 Adventure of Link, the most experimental of Zelda games, but with wise-style bump combat, which is actually more tactical and challenging than you might assume. It's more of a game than you normally get from these guys, but it's still very strange. It's just done in a more accessible way where someone who isn't a total freak might actually have fun with it. And finally, at number 1, it's Lumines Arise. This is a game that just made no impact whatsoever, despite its exceptional pedigree and obvious quality. People loved Lumines on PSP back in the day. People still love Tetris Effect. This game basically combines both into an audio-visual feast that's a lot of fun, has a ton of modes and features, and it's just an all-around excellent old-school puzzle game. There's not a lot to say about it beyond that. It's a game that speaks for itself. As a puzzle, it's very similar to Tetris, but instead of making rows, you got falling pieces that are 2 different colors, and you're trying to make 2x2 blocks the same color to clear the board and build combos. It sounds simple, but it's deceptively complicated, which makes Lumines a little harder to just jump into and play compared to Tetris. But in terms of quality block-dropping puzzle games, I'd put it similarly. The game manages to build on the presentation and quality of Tetris Effect to go even wilder with it. It's really one of the most impressive puzzle games I've seen in a long time, just from an art design perspective. It is fantastic across the board. There's a ton of stuff to keep you busy here, including a main journey campaign mode and a lot of other puzzle types to keep things fresh. It's just an all-around great package that completely flew under the radar of most people. I do have some bonus games for you, just a few that deserve a lot more attention. First off, Absalom, an incredible beat-em-up roguelike hybrid that works really well. It's the perfect genre hybrid. It makes sense to play, has strengths of both genres played too. It's super fun, much bigger than almost any other beat-em-up, and you can get really overpowered in it, which is really what you want in a roguelike. It's amazing, and even better played with a friend or two. Next is Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I've gushed about this one a ton here on the Falcon Show, everywhere, so I will keep it brief. It's an almost perfect melding of old and new. The action is super solid. The platforming is perfect. The levels are long with little bonuses and secrets to find, but they don't overstay their welcome. It's just a good game. It does require a more deliberate touch, because once you perform a move, you've committed to it. That adds a little tactical depth to the gameplay, though. It's not just a button masher. There is a thoughtfulness to the design that I have a lot of respect for. Also, the music is killer and the art is truly amazing. Just a great action game all around. And finally, look outside. There were a few people who were the early boosters of this game. We were some of them. Some folks on our staff actually put it as one of their favorite games of the year. It's an underdog story for sure, but there's a kind of a groundswell of support for this game bubbling under the surface. It's been there all year. If you go to any discussions about Game of the Year, there's somebody that's going to mention Look Outside and how it was robbed at the Game Awards. That's how much people like this thing, and they're 100% right. Look Outside is an RPG Maker game, mostly made by a single guy, but it's freaking incredible. It's like The Thing crossed with Undertale, but somehow more grotesque. It's a game with a black heart, but there's some major heart under it. It's one of the most unique experiences of the year. Combine the survival horror and RPG stuff. It does something really unique, but still kind of recognizable, familiar feeling, even though it may not necessarily be something you've experienced before. I don't think it is. And it feels super unforgiving at first, but it is not as bad as it seems like it is if you stick with it. It's kind of the dark horse this year. It's never going to win, but a lot of people think it should have. It's got a uniquely twisted vision, all on its own, that sticks with people, even if it is technically kind of rough, and parts can even get broken. It's a game with some issues that are easy to overlook when your game manages to do whatever this pulled off. It's a secret sauce that just works, and there's no use trying to explain it. Sometimes the magic just happens, and this is an example of that. That's all I've got for you today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Join the 1% Club. Listen to The Falcon Show. It's still early days over there, and I still think we've been doing pretty well. So thanks everybody who have supported that and this as well. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.